All right, hola, what is up? What is going on, everybody? If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. In today's video, I just kind of wanted to go over, some brazing techniques, kind of show it, demo it, all that kind of stuff. Show you some different options. We have our Ambro Controls, which I use 2 other products. And then I also have a turbo torch on this side and have an oxyacetylene off camera. I will show you how to braze with each one, my technique. As long as you have your like an understanding of how it works, how it flows, what to do if it doesn't want to flow, if you got a pinhole, you're looking for more coverage, you want to make sure that it's sealed. That's what I'm going to show you today, and kind of the settings on each of these torches that I use, and like I said, the technique to make sure you get that full coverage. So we'll start with the bigger pipe size right now and then work our way down just to kind of show you different ways to braze. Now, if you didn't know, Ambro Controls actually offers a precision torch kit, which is this smaller handle. It's been compared to like a jeweler's torch, something of that nature, and you got a flexible hose, which the hose gets really annoying on those sets that you get at your supply house, the real basic, simple ones that take a traditional oxyacetylene. That hose is the most annoying part. It's super rigid, it's hard to unravel, get in the way, and it kind of pulls you in different directions. I would highly recommend getting a flexible hose. Now, this is the one that Ambro Controls sells. You can get it at your supply house. You can look for it, on their website. They'll show you who has it. You can reach out to them. They can find a distributor near you, but most supply houses have it. For me, I can buy Ambro Controls at our local Johnstone and Insco, which is the ones that we typically shop at more, but all supply houses should have it. Flexible hose, like I said, this is the one that Ambro sells. It goes with their kits. You can get this, order this, pick it up at a supply house. You can just get this and put it on your set. I think this is a big difference, because on the oxyacetylene that I do have, I ended up buying one of these off of Amazon, a different brand, hard to find, funny enough, or this should be more of a standard, but I did put that on my oxyacetylene and it made a huge difference. So I'll try to link what I can down below, but if anything, just go to your supply house, ask for the precision kit that goes with any torch set. Basically, like I said, I'll test it later, and make this upgrade. You can use this setup that I'm carrying, with one hand, super light, versus a traditional oxyacetylene set, which you're paying for the lightweight convenience. Totally up to you, but I do have a video when I first got this, going over the differences, the weight difference, all that kind of stuff. I'll link that down below as well. Today we're just going to go over brazing. So if you see all that flakes off, and you can see it falling there on the table, that also happens on the inside. So you're going to get that without purging nitrogen, and it's never been a problem in the past because of the oils that have changed. The oils, the POE now can actually get that off the wall, take it down to your TXV, your compressor, different components, and cause issues. Where in the past, mineral oil, all these older refrigerants didn't do that, basically. So that's why you purge, so that you don't get all that flaking on the inside. What they say to do, if you look it up, is heat up the male joint, which is the one that goes inside your coupling here. And just because copper is super conductive, you're going to end up heating up this pipe, which goes all the way to here, where you're trying to lay your solder down right here at the gap and pull it in this way. So if you heat up the male pipe, technically you're heating it up all the way to here, where it kind of ends right inside. I've always done it, and I think it's because I was taught to do it this way at trade school, is to heat up the joint first. And the way I think of it is I'm heating up this area right here where I want to draw the solder in. So just understand that wherever you're heating up your your flame and getting the area the most hot, the hottest, that's where your solder is going to. So the thing I try to tell my guys is heat up the end here, the bell, and add here so you could draw it that way. Might not be the best way, but that's my way, and I've been doing it for a long time. So we are going to cut these open afterwards and show how well we sealed with my technique, the difference between purging and not purging. Ambro Controls also offers a portable nitrogen solution that can help you clear drains in a pinch, but it's also meant to braze and purge nitrogen. So I'm going to hook this up real quick. These are the fittings that come with it, and you can shove these in any copper tubing. You can kind of wedge it in there and it'll stay put, and now you have a port to purge your nitrogen and get it flowing. And we're going to do this end and use a precision one, show you how to do the flame, the settings, everything, and then like I said, we'll cut these open afterwards so I can show you the difference. So we have our nitrogen set up. You don't want a whole lot. They do sell regulators that you can use. I'll show that in a different video. This is more for brazing, but you can set it up just to have it slightly purging. So I can hear that it's on right now. You can kind of control it with the valves here. You're not trying to pressurize the system, because if you do that, you're gonna push the solder out, and you do need, when you purge nitrogen, you do need an outlet. On the other side, you need to have it open. If you have any solenoids, use a solenoid magnet to make sure those are open as well, because you need this flowing and exiting the system as well. You can't build up pressure because you won't be able to braze. All right, and what I mean by the nitrogen thing, if you're working on the system, it's not gonna have refrigerant most likely when you're brazing. So you're gonna have the Schraders out of the ports, and that's allowing you to purge nitrogen and then have a way to vent it on the other side of the system. That's why I said if you have solenoids, make sure those are open, anything like that. And when you're purging, make sure you feel on another outlet it coming all the way through. If you can't take the Schraders out, or you have Cormax fittings, you can also just hook up a hose or a fitting that has a depressor on it and make sure that it vents out through there. As long as you have it purging and flowing through with an exit point, because you don't want it to be exiting where you're brazing. Now what we're using here is the torch kit that they sell with their precision handle. The original one comes with hoses that you're more familiar with, like with your other oxyacetylene set. This is the more rigid rubber style hose, and this is the original handle here. So I do think it's you know, an investment or an upgrade to get to this setup right here. Manufacturer Ambro Controls recommends 60 psi on your oxygen and 7 on your MAP gas. So the way that you're gonna dial these in, you have these knobs up here. So we're gonna start with the oxygen. You're gonna open up on your handle so that it's flowing, and then you're gonna depress it by putting it clockwise or turning it clockwise in, and you're gonna see over here what your reading is. Now, personally, I like to get to about 40, and then you're gonna close that, and that's set now for whatever you set it to. And I'm gonna go ahead and do 7 or 8 on this one over here. So we have our torch handle open, get it to about 8, and then close it. So once you set them, you can close on your handle, and you are set to do your braze at that point. Now, when you're done with it, you do need to back those out. And with a 40 and 8 setting on these, this is the kind of flame that you get. And that's good for me. Now, when you initially ignite it, you're on the MAP gas only. You're gonna get that huge orange flame, and you're gonna bring it back down until it starts smoldering, but you're gonna get some soot. And that's when you introduce your oxygen. If you're working indoors like I do a lot, what you can do is open up this oxygen quite a bit, and then open up your MAP gas or acetylene and strike it. That way you're already on that setting where you don't have any ash or soot coming out. Just a little tip. And you do want a longer flame. You can see the cone right here, and you can just add more if you need to. And I'm gonna heat up the bell like I normally do. I'm gonna go further this way. You're gonna test it. Test it again. And I like to go over it one more time. And you're constantly moving the flame this way, just to make sure you get full coverage and it goes in the pipe. And that's it. And I just want to make sure that it's full coverage. If you want to go over it, I usually go over it twice. If you want to make sure you put a bigger bead of solder, you can. Like so, just so you see the full coverage. That's what I would prefer. That second initial one that I did, didn't do full coverage, but now we got full coverage. All right, so if we show the pipe here, you can see we went all the way around and we sealed pretty good. You need a cloth to kind of clean it, a wet rag or anything like that. After it's cooled for a couple minutes, you can go in there and wipe it off and then inspect with a mirror. You can also clean this up if you would like with some sand cloth or anything like that, just to make it look, you know, super nice if you guys want to sand it down and have it nice and, you know, shiny and all that. Let's say you had a gap, you want to clean it up. It's usually on the bottom section and you have quite a bit of solder, you know, laid on top. Like I said, you want to go over it a couple times. You can always just go in there and clean up. Let's say like this kind of looks like a gap, so let's go through and just kind of clean it up. You can clean it up. You just want to keep the flame moving and you kind of want to loosen up some of the solder that you have around it. So get some of this to turn liquid a little bit. All the stuff you have on top. What matters more is what you pulled in. So all this on top is just for like added coverage, and we can kind of loosen that up. All right, so I actually ran out of oxygen here. Now I've been using this for quite a bit. So let's take it out and I can show you how simple it is to change these out. So you take it out, you're done with this one. All right, super easy to swap. So back to what I was saying is if you're like me and you know, you can either drop another bead on or somewhere on it or close to it and then just kind of move your flame because it's gonna follow your flame. Or if you're like me and you already put, you know, an extra little coating around it, you don't need any more brazing rod. You're just simply gonna use what you already have, melt it off. See, I got a new oxygen tank and this one's gonna heat up way quicker now. And you fill the gap, or you can just throw in a whole other bead there, like so, and be done with it. All right, so sometimes the difference is more drastic, but here is the one with nitrogen flowing. It is still had some buildup, so I need to add a little bit more. And this copper pipe is also old. And this is the one without nitrogen. You can kind of see all the stuff coming off. That's all going to be in your system. All right, so this is my Klein rolling backpack that I converted to my torch caddy because I got tired of lugging that thing around. This thing is on wheels. I have a video on this. I think I mentioned it already. I've done this whole modification for quick connects. These also are basically hand tight valves that you put on, the regulators. Also, quick tip, if you guys go get your acetylene, you're going to replace these at your supply house when you need to replenish them. Make sure you always get the one with the knob. The other one you need a wrench or a refrigeration ratchet to open it, but essentially I always make sure I get the knob version of the tanks. But these are Western Enterprise self-adjusting regulators, so that does not need to be set. But if you were to set these on your own, if you have a basic kit that you had, or whatever you use at work, you're gonna go. There's two ways to go about it. If you go and look it up, the most common one is 5 on your acetylene and 10 on your oxygen. That is for most manufacturers. If I can find the chart, I'll put it up on screen right now, because it also depends on the tip. I typically went 5 and 10, and I used a number 2 tip, and I could do most brazing from 1/4 inch all the way to 7/8. Another easy one to remember is 7-11. It's a little bit different, but it's basically gives you the same amount of heat and all that. Just keep in mind, like I said, going from this one to an Ambro Controls, there is a little bit of a learning curve, trying to get used to that one. And if you think about it, you're using more oxygen on the Ambro Controls because it tells you to use 60, I use 40, because MAP gas is just not as hot as acetylene, so you're adding oxygen to that, or more oxygen, to make it hotter. And something like this, you're going to be using less because your acetylene can be hotter with less oxygen. So on the Ambro Controls, I personally go 8 and 40. Or on an oxyacetylene set like this, I go 5 and 10. Or if you need something easy to remember, 7-11. So those are the settings. I have these. I'll leave these linked down below. They're in my tool link. All this stuff is listed there. These quick connects, this flexible hose, all the stuff that I would ever need is in this kit right here, but I don't use this one anymore. I strictly use the Ambro Controls. I'll leave that all linked below because all of this was really cool to use. The quick connects, the self-setting regulators, just to make that part of my job easier. Oxyacetylene with a flexible hose, a flexible neck here. I've always used the number 2 and got away with it, but don't be afraid of your flame. Don't try and make it smaller and starve it. You need to make sure that you have your oxygen open as much as you need. And have a nice flame so that the longer the flame is, you're actually going to get it to wrap around the pipe a whole lot better. So, I mean, you can start with the male end, you can start with the female end. To me, as long as you're moving the flame around, you just don't want to have it in the same spot at all times. And then, test your rod, and then make sure you go up and down, back and forth the whole time. And don't get too close either. Don't put your flame right on it. You got to give it some space, let it wrap around the pipe, let it heat up. It does get cherry red when it's ready, but when you're at cherry red, you also have there's also a possibility you're going to burn through the pipe, make a hole, and you're going to make it harder on yourself. So once you start you know, seeing the solder melt. That's why you're going to keep testing it. Once it starts melting, it's hot enough. So you're just going to have to keep moving that flame around so you don't burn a hole. You're just going to keep going around, making sure you get coverage. And like I said, you can go over it twice, lay another bead, take your flame off, lay a bead, take your flame off. You just always want that flame moving front to back, side to side, and you'll get that coverage, you'll get it in there, and you don't need a whole lot of solder. All right, so this one actually had a crack, and I've had pretty good luck with repairing or going over cracks, and as long as you, again, I talk about full coverage a lot. If you're gonna fill in a repair, whether it's a hole or a crack or anything like that, fill it in and then go above and below it. You know, go further this way and go further that way and make sure it bonds, and then try to wrap it around the pipe as much as you can. So in this instance here, we have 2 holes here that we can repair. I've done plenty of these kinds of repairs where it's a rub out. You got some copper pipe that touches and vibrates, and it causes, you know, the system to leak out completely. And then you got these holes to deal with where the components might not be bad, and you know, you should replace whatever pipe is compromised basically, but you know, we fix things around here. So let me show you how to do that. It's super simple. So with this one, you're gonna heat up this area, but you don't want to preheat it too long. You don't want it cherry red. You don't want this solder to go all the way inside and fill the pipe or fall in and go down further down the tube or anything like that. You want it to literally lay there and then just kind of melt just enough. And again, we're gonna heat it up. We're gonna take the flame away so that it's not, you know, pure liquid, but it's soft enough to kind of cover this hole and then wrap around the pipe a little bit. Now this is technically a little bit easier with a flat rod, which is more common. I've done it with round rod as well. So again, rub outs, U-bends that are leaking. Every now and then I've done repairs on cracks and stuff. The units will work. They'll outlast, these repairs will outlast the unit most of the time. And you save the day by helping out a customer. So here, the goal is to heat it up just a little bit. And then you're gonna start testing and putting just a little bit. And I'm just gonna smooth it out, not get it super hot. And there you go, you got a leak repair or a patch repair. Now if you got a bigger one, you just have to be a little bit careful, and just again, try not to get it super hot. You're gonna preheat it and then start testing it. That's already gonna get, or I'm really close to the other one, so it's gonna be quicker. And then just lay down at an angle like this to keep adding if you need more. This one was a little bit bigger, so we're gonna make sure that it wraps around and up and down and back and forth, just like you would anything else that I've talked about in this video. And the reason I like to go all the way around, just so it has more surface area to grab onto. So we try to lay it down flat, and then we try to make sure that it grabs or covers that hole, but also grabs the copper and tubing around it, and then kind of you feather it out over here all the way around. That way, in my opinion, you have more surface area that you have this solder on there, and it's gonna adhere to a lot of the good pipe. So that patch, refrigerant, anything flowing through here is not going to seep out easily. It's going to be a permanent patch. All right, so I hope you guys found that video helpful. Today, I just wanted to go over the brazing. Thank you to the sponsor, Ambro Controls. We are gonna have one more video in the series where I go over more of the accessories. So everything that I carry in my torch kit, in my torch bag, the different ways that I've done it, and also, you know, protecting the valves using a actual wet rag that we could put in water and, you know, doing it that way, or using the putty. I also have paste and different, you know, different things that I use, and I'll kind of showcase it in real time how that works, and just a few more techniques for what you would need in a brazing kit to do a lot of these TXVs or valves or patch repairs. I'll kind of bring that up again too. So shout out to Ambro Controls, and shout out to all the teachers and students that are watching this. I appreciate the messages that I get from you guys. So that is always super helpful to kind of, you know, remind me why I do this, because I am by no means, you know, good at teaching at all. Like, that is a whole different skill, and, you know, it's super important. I went to trade school, so I know the importance of some guys being able to learn more, you know, in a setting like that versus like being thrown to the wolves when you go to a blue collar job, or, you know, whatever HVAC company takes a chance on you. A lot of them actually want experience, and a school is a good way to get that. So if you found my channel, there is a training playlist on my homepage on my YouTube channel, and my way of doing it is if I was talking to a coworker, which I do all the time, like helping a coworker, an apprentice. Those are the ways that I'm trying to do these videos, because I don't know all the answers. I don't know the perfect way to do everything. I just know what's worked for me, and kind of, you know, I kind of pass that along to the guys that I work with, just so that, you know, they don't struggle as much as I did. Because, you know, when I started, I burned holes through copper. I've had brazing joints that I just didn't do a good job on, and they leak, you know, and I used to freak out when I would see rub outs and, you know, leaks that you would kind of question, like, can I fix that, or do they need a whole new system, you know, stuff like that. So that's what I'm trying to get through in these videos, so hopefully you find them helpful. The only thing that I did not get to show is the turbo torch, or the air acetylene. For several reasons, I actually wouldn't recommend it. A lot of people do use it. I think, for one, it's very loud, and I work indoors a lot, and it's also, it takes a lot longer to heat up, and it heats up more of the area around you. So if you guys have used one, or looking to use a turbo torch or an air acetylene where it's just the acetylene tank, I wish I had it. I have the setup, I can't find the tip to it. If you guys are interested in how that one works, let me know. I'll go get a replacement tip, and we can do a video on it too. But again, it's super loud, and it gets super hot, and it takes longer. So you're more likely to cook a valve, like a TXV, a solenoid, anything like that, or a king valve, a service valve, because it takes a lot longer to heat up the area that you want, but it gives off more heat than an oxyacetylene, or even the Ambro Controls MAP gas oxygen setup. So in that instance, you have to protect the area. So if there's any, like I said, the valves, but if there's any wires, any plastic, anything within a foot of that joint that you're brazing, you need to protect it, or you're going to melt it. Versus the options that I showed you today, you can be a few inches away from a panel or something, and you'll never get that to melt, or wires to melt, or anything like that, as long as you don't wave your torch around carelessly. So the turbo torch, I know people like it. I only see it if you're only doing like condensers. Like, I see a lot of installers using it. If you're only brazing the two lines and maybe a coupling, at the like at the split system, a condenser outside on a residential, great. You're outside, nobody cares how loud it is. You are not near anything sensitive. Cool. But in my scenario, I've tried it, I've had it, I just didn't like it. So stay put. I'm actually going to add the clip of the Ambro Controls PerforMax, which is the MAP gas torch head where you can braze with just MAP gas. I did demo it on a bigger piece of pipe. Now again, if you guys are doing 7/8, 1 inch and up, with a lot of the options I showed you today, it's possible, but you're gonna have to follow the solder, like wherever the rod is where you're gonna have your flame, and you're gonna have to go all the way around with that, with those two together to make sure you wrap around. Versus like on smaller pipe, I like to have the flame on one side and then hit it with the rod on the other side, and then kind of move it around with the heat. It's a little bit harder to do that on bigger diameter pipe, so you just got to be patient. You got to heat up the area that you're applying the solder to, and in that instance, the PerforMax I think is really good for 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch. For me, in a restaurant setting where I don't have to take torches down, I can just take that MAP gas and braze smaller pieces of pipe. But also the turbo torch, if you guys, it takes longer to heat up, so you're gonna have to follow it with that, and you're gonna struggle to do bigger pieces of pipe. Oxyacetylene or the Ambro Controls MAP gas oxygen, those get hot enough. If you do bigger pieces of pipe, I'll go over this in the next video too with the different tips. If you do anything large diameter, you should probably get a rosebud tip. So again, we'll go over all of that. I'm gonna play the clip right now of the PerforMax just so you can see it in action. I'm super excited to use it on smaller equipment. And if you guys could, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you. Actually gonna demo this for the first time. This is their Ambro MAP gas torch. It's basically a single torch setup, or a single canister. You're gonna put this on, and I want to see how well this can braze this size of pipe right here. This has your control right here to turn it on and off, your trigger to strike it, you have a lock button, and this can also stay on without you holding the trigger, which is a nice feature. So if you want to trigger and then push this button, it'll stay on without you holding it, that way you don't get a cramp. And like I said, I'm doing the outside first. You got a nice big flame right there. And then what you can do is you can test it. So you can start putting your solder, see if it takes. Add a little bit more. And that's another technique that I've told guys, is maybe lay a bead on top if you're dealing with bigger pipe and maybe you don't have a hot enough source, like a MAP gas torch that's meant for brazing, obviously, but you can heat it up that way and then just start pulling it down. That did take a little too long. We did cover the whole side though. And all you want to do is get an inspection mirror and go all the way around. We'll try and let it cool down naturally.